What's good everyone? Today again I've got my weekly trade review for you. This one's a little bit different. I'm just going to show you it off my journal and the pictures I took. One, so you can kind of see how I journal, and two, to save time. Obviously I'd have to redraw all my positions because my actual charts, as you'll kind of see through some of these pictures, I have quite a lot on there which is a bit messy and kind of takes your attention away from the main stuff I want to show you with the trades. However, this is just showing the pictures I take when I journal. So yeah, let's jump into it. So I took two trades this week, one on gold, one on USD/CHF. The gold one lost, and then the USD/CHF it won. It won like I think 0.4 R. However, I was trading, the account I took this on is a really small one, and then the account I took the USD/CHF on is an account much bigger, so I actually did end up being profitable this week. But obviously we look at percentage, not the numbers, so RR wise it is another week down. However, it doesn't really matter. Again, we're trading probabilities here. Let's start on the daily. Obviously, as I say every time I take a gold trade, gold is historically bullish. We have been in this kind of consolidation. We pulled down here, we were moving slightly higher, we swept this high, price has been moving down, and then we failed to take this low right here. So me seeing this with the 4-hour liquidity and sweeping this daily low, I was thinking, okay, we also had this gap up here, we could potentially be moving higher to continue, or even just at least short term have a pullback. So now we see on the 4-hour, you can see here's the gap up here, we swept this low nicely, we made a huge rejection upwards, leaving fair value gaps. This isn't one, but we left the fair value gap up here, so I'm thinking, okay, we can target up into here. We did have this 4-hour fair value gap right here, which we had respected with 2 candles before I started trading. So this was over Asian session. Me looking at this, I was thinking, okay, I have more to time to go to the upside. However, we was in the current now moment respecting this. Although we could go higher, this really is telling me we could move down potentially into here, into this lower time frame fair value gap, and then move up to the gap, or maybe we want to sweep more liquidity and then move higher. This is something I need to look more into if we've already respected. So my rules of having opposing fair value gaps, let's say this grab here was off the 1 hour, so my main idea for the trade was off the 1 hour. As there's a higher time frame point of sabotage above, I won't take the trade. But because there's a 4 hour, I can take that, because my context to the upside is worth more than just a singular 4-hour fair value gap in principle. However, we're already respecting this one, so it obviously is pretty powerful being on the 4-hour, especially on the time frames me and you trade. So that's definitely something to look out for. Okay, so now I've jumped onto the 1-hour chart. As you can see, we swept the low down here. Price has been respecting this fair value gap with the bodies. We respected this fair value gap with the bodies, and we wicked into and rejected this one. I'm seeing this and thinking, okay, the 1-hour and 4-hour aligned very nicely. We've got a gap above. Daily market structure wise, I'm bullish. This looks pretty textbook. Obviously, not taking into account the 4-hour. So I entered, price ended up sweeping this high right here, and we rejected very, very aggressively, very nicely, and then price moved to the downside. Just to quickly show you, price moved lower, came into this area down here, I believe, or even lower. We came into just down here. We didn't touch that fair value gap, and then price moved higher. A daily fair value gap did form, however we then did as I was expecting. So I also take a picture of the 15-minute. Not much to really show you on here. I just take it just so I have it just in case I ever need it. It's here on every trade. 5-minute, as you can see, we were consolidating. However, we started to shift here, and then obviously we had the break which I entered off of. So I entered off this break right here. Stops were below this fair value gap on the 1 hour. Yep. And then price moved up. It was making breakup structures to the upside until it swept that higher. Then ultimately we made that shift, and then price continued to the downside. So yeah, that was the first trade. I'll now jump into the second one on USD/CHF, and we'll see what we can learn from that. As we always do with any major pair we trade, we look at DXY first. I also take the pictures of DXY in my journal, as you can see. So on the daily, we gapped below this low and made this aggressive close. We're displacing lower than the break of structure. Obviously, we do have this gap above. We're expecting to be filled at some point. However, we do not know when that's going to be. And this daily candle being so aggressive to the downside tells me there's no reason currently to not look for a continuation. If we come down, sweep this, reject, or create or engineer some sort of other liquidity, then yes. However, at this point in time, there's no reason to look for higher prices. Jump onto the 4 hour. As you can see, it is quite choppy here. We failed to take this low, which makes a very nice relative equal low, which I'm thinking, okay, we can sweep this nicely to come up. We have been respecting this 4 fair value gap and swept this high. So for me, this is all pointing to the idea we're going to move lower. Drop down to the 1 hour. For me to also think price is going to go higher, I would need a smart money reversal, which is obviously break of this high, because low, high, lower, low, higher, high. We haven't broke this low. If we do break this low, then it would be here, etc., etc. I'm looking for us to go higher. Obviously, we did close through that 1 hour fair value gap, and well, I'm respecting it. However, we had this one up here, and then yeah, so we could have come up, price moved lower. We were closing through here. It all looks good. We also swept Asia, which, as you know, is a very nice confluence to have. So all in all, I was thinking, okay, we'll probably come down to here first. Now, jumping onto USD CHF. As we can see, as USD is at the start of the pair, I'm looking for it to move with DXY, so I'm bearish. We displaced below the low again. As I was saying on DXY, there's no reason to not expect a continuation at this period of time. Coming down to the 4 hour, not too much here. We respected this fair value gap. We're moving lower. That's quite old anyway. We come to the 1 hour. We swept Asia right here. Inverted this 1 hour fair value gap, as you can see. We didn't come up into it, but that is a sign of bearish intent to see, oh, we could continue to the downside. When we inverted this, I thought we were either going to come up into the inversion or continue lower. Either one I was happy with. So if we got a entry present here, I would take it. If not, and we do move up, I'm not thinking, oh, okay, we're going to reverse. I'm happy to see us come up into this zone and move lower. We then, 15 minute, again, you can see the liquidity sweep of Asian highs a lot clearer. Yeah, again, so this is another reason I showed a 15, is because sometimes the 1 hour will show Asia as, like, it's like the candle next to it and you can't really see, but on here, there's normally at least 4 candles printed, or in this case, quite a few more. So to the 5, as you can see, there was an earlier setup here, which if I was trading at 2, would have taken and would have won. However, that's just a game. I don't trade that time. Here was the break we had. Structure is moving really nice to the downside. We had this break here. I waited for a little pullback just to fit a 20 pip stop loss, which we ended up getting very nicely. Price was, as you can see, we moved lower, consolidated for a bit. Price came up for news, which is I closed around here at this, the low of this candle right here, and then we did move down for news. Obviously didn't take my target, and then price is kind of consolidating right now, moving a little bit lower. However, I always close for news, because the thing is with red folder news, even if it looks like it's aligning a lot, all you need is a few times it to not go your way, and you can blow an account very, very easily. And I mean, if it's big enough, it's going to go through your stop loss, and it could easily be a 6, 7, 8% loss. Especially if you're risking 2%, you could easily do minus 10% in a trade. And imagine you're 4% up on an account, you've lost that, and now you're in 6% drawdown. It's you don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. You obviously can do as you please. So yeah, that was the 2. Again, trading's been okay this week. There's still room for improvement. My new, as you can see up here, that was trade 120. So I'm now going on to a new batch, and I've got a new entry model, which looks really good. It's a slight variation of what I've been doing. It's very similar. Everything else is the same, apart from I find the 1 minute market structure shifts. That was the main thing with my trading I could improve on. So keeping everything else the same. I'm not going to be. I'm not trying to hop strategy from strategy. This is the same thing, just with a slight difference entry model wise. to make me more accurate getting in and out of the market. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope there's stuff you can learn from. As you can see, I'm in a bit of a rough patch results wise, but I'm still sharing everything I take, because I know that's just trading. It happens on both sides. You'll have months or multiple months which are great, and you have a few weeks which aren't so good. However, it's not too bad. It's like -2% or something, no biggie. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll speak to you next week.